What's up, everybody? It's Rated In for Podcast. I'm your host, Drew, and today is October 19th. It is Sunday. It's 8 p.m., and it's time to go live. We're finally all here. I got back from Texas. I ain't got no Ebola in me so far. I'm doing pretty cool there. I'm joined, as always, with, what did we just call you? Canadian Ginger
You can call me the
Sissy
handsomest
Jesus?
man in Canada.
Stoner Hippie Jesus.
No, it was Stoner Canadian Ginger Jesus.
Oh
Yes.
my god. Words
Rory
and
Wood.
adjectives just
What's up,
keep getting
Rory?
added to my name. This is crazy.
Yes.
What's it going to be next week?
Tune in. What's up, Rory?
What's up, everybody? Glad to be here.
And as always, Marcus Beer's like degenerate off-brand American twin, Sean Messler.
I don't know if I could follow that.
I don't even know either. I don't know where I am. I don't know what's happening. I'm a little rusty. It's been a couple weeks. So we're here. We're going to talk about some video games, and we are not exactly pressed on time, but we're going to make this a skimpy show. We're just going to blow right through it. Not
Ooh,
going to waste any
skimpy.
time.
I like
We're
skimpy.
not going to stand here and just chew the road like I'm doing right now.
Yeah,
So why don't we
dude,
just
if you're
jump right
gonna
into
not
it?
waste time, then you're off to a terrible start.
All right, so let's just kick it off with what you're playing. Rory, what you been playing, dude?
Finished Shadow of Mordor right after the stream last week. Love that game. But just recently I picked up Alien Isolation and The Evil Within. So I've been dabbling a little bit with both of those. Really enjoying both of them. As much as I loved Alien E3, I think The Evil Within is actually making a stronger first impression. And one of my favorite things about it, and it's actually a frustrating thing, but I love it because it's reminding me of the good old Resident Evil 2 days, is that I got to about chapter 3, and I'm not playing it on casual, I'm playing it on the normal, which is
Survival.
like the harder
Survivor.
mode that they give you there. They only give you the two
Yeah.
modes. It's kicking my ass, and I've actually gotten to a point now where I'm fighting this dude with a chainsaw. And because I fucked up my saves, I'm stuck now with nothing. Like, I don't have any of the ammo and the supplies that I need because I
Classic.
burnt them. So I literally am in a spot right now where I'm like, ah, shit, I think I'm going to restart the game
Oh, no.
and think about it through properly. I'm only at chapter 3, so I've only put about 2 hours into it. Loving it, though. Loving the experience it's giving me. It's exactly what I've been wanting from a survival horror game for so long. And I couldn't be happier that it's turned out pretty good. I'm really liking it so far.
Interesting.
Too early for me to sort of get in there and to say if I've got issues and complaints with it, and have a
So
final
how much
verdict.
much time do you think you've logged with it so far?
I've probably put about 2 to 3 hours into Alien, and I would say it's about the same with Evil Within
Okay,
right now.
so it's just good first impression so far. We'll hear some more about it next week, I guess.
Definitely. I think because I have to do my restart on Evil Within, I think I'm going to dedicate my time now and just get through Alien Isolation, and then I'll jump into Evil Within instead of jumping back
No,
and forth. It was just
You're,
day
you're
one. I
planning
had
on
that.
streaming that.
Yeah,
right?
I was planning on streaming it all weekend. I just got tied up. I've been doing some shooting for a Halloween thing that's been happening at in Vancouver this weekend.
Oh, cool, man. Sweet.
But yeah, I'm going to be streaming right after the show tonight. I'm going to dive in and play some Alien Isolation. I'll be streaming that
Ooh.
later. Aliens,
Nice.
really enjoying that so far. As a big fan of the Alien movies, I think they've like really recreated like the settings, the mood, the atmosphere, like phenomenally. Really, it's a great experience for Alien fans. Tough as nails too. Like I've been having a serious challenge with that game in parts, but really, really enjoying it. So I'm gonna stick with Alien Isolation, finish that, and then move on to Evil Within afterwards. But yeah, if you're into survival horror, scary games in general, both games so
Yeah.
far have been making a really positive first impression on me. So check them out for sure.
Now, did you get any time with Mordor? Do you want to talk about that here in a minute, or
Who, myself?
yeah?
I
Did you
finished
play
it.
Mordor?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
I put 50
yeah,
hours
alright.
into Shadow of Mordor when it was all said and done, and
Jeezy crazy.
absolutely loved it. If I wasn't selling it to a buddy just so that I could grab a couple new games and try and stay on top of this,
Oh,
because you guys know
yeah.
I'm trying to stay on top of all the big releases, so
I know,
I'm
man.
surprised
You're
I got
doing
so
it.
much time out of Mordor as quick as I did. But yeah, really enjoyed that game, and I would have probably gone for 100% if I wasn't trying to just move on, because finished the story, did a lot of side stuff, and it was just time to Okay, I got to
Cool.
keep up with these other games, so at some point I got to just pull the plug on it and move on. But Shadow of Mordor was awesome. Really enjoyed it. The ending was a little underwhelming, not from a story
Hmm.
perspective. I actually enjoyed the story when it was all said and done.
Yeah, it
Um,
sounds like the journey is the main part of that game. That's true of a lot of games like that, like Assassin's Creed and Batman and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
it's
Like
just
the
like
journey
it's
is
the
the
game
game.
it's a gameplay
Yeah,
issue that I have at the end of Mordor, like, and I'm not gonna spoil anything, but for anybody that's
sure.
finished the story of the game and finished the final like half hour, the last mission or two,
Hmm.
they'll totally understand. The final battle is just so underwhelming after the epic, crazy, intense action that you've been building up towards, and all these great big fights. The final two fights are the most underwhelming things I could imagine.
Okay.
But other than that, phenomenal game, and it's definitely worth playing. I encourage everybody to go check it out.
Sweet, sweet. So, Sean, what'd you play, man?
Well, I finished the Evil Within obviously for my review. We couldn't talk about it last week because I was under embargo.
Oh, right.
But yeah, that game surprised the shit out of me. You guys know that I had some not so nice things to say about it, and the funny thing is, and I mentioned this last week, is that the first time I saw it, there's a section in the game, which I don't know if this might be in DLC, but it was not in the final game, and it didn't. Maybe they took it out because people were like, it's too much like Resident Evil 4 or what, but that was not there. And then the demo that I played was from Chapter 9, and I'm not going to get into spoilers because some people haven't played it, but context is everything. And being dropped into that game without knowing the systems and knowing what the game is doing
Hmm.
is a terrible way to show that game,
Okay.
especially because this game, if you're into Asian horror at all, this game is very similar to the pacing of an Asian horror film, which is very slow.
Hmm.
They peel back layers more and more before shit starts to get real crazy, and the game does that not only with the narrative, which isn't that great to be honest with you, but with the systems and the environments and everything, like the things that you have at your disposal by the end of the game, some of those things are like you get them late. Like there's a weapon you get very late in the game, and the same thing
Do you
with
know if this game has a new game plus mode? Is it
it does.
something that you can turn around and do that again and use all
No, it
those?
does. At the
Oh,
end of the
okay.
game, it tells you how long you played, how many times you died, and then you unlock some things, just like Resident Evil 4. You
Hmm.
unlock some goodies that you can bring into New Game Plus. So it has that. I'm gonna go through that again. I need to stay on, like Rory, stay on top of games. So that's gonna be like go replaying that's gonna be on my backlog. But yeah, like, and the thing is, the game is smart in how it unfolds and gives you new things to do and figure out. And there's late game, like, and the thing is, there's a lot of mechanics in the game. I mean, this game has a lot of mechanics. Like the game I could compare it to, and not in like a it's like this, but in contrast to, is Max Payne 3.
Huh.
The reason why I say that is because Max Payne 3, it's that one thing you do through the entire game, and it wears it. To me, it wore out its welcome.
Oh,
It went
okay.
on too long. Where the Evil Within is constantly giving you new things to do,
Like new
and
mechanics and.
new mechanics, new upgrades, new ways to fight enemies. Like not you won't use the same approach for any of the bosses. It's just really a really smartly designed game in that aspect, which again, you just don't get that when you're sitting there playing a demo in a late chapter of a 15 chapter game. So
So a friend of mine messaged me today and was like, "Oh man, this enemy within game looks amazing. I really should pick it up." And I'm like, or Evil Within. I was like, I don't know, because the impressions that I've heard before the game came out were not so great. And then I didn't get a chance to really like read a lot of reviews, but some like hands-on impressions, and I listened to some of the guys from Giant Bomb were like, this game is not that great. And so I just was like, I don't know. I think this game was supposed to be some kind of survival horror savior, which is what everybody says about every survival horror game that's came out in the last like 10 years. And it was not that. So, what should I tell somebody going into this game blind? Like, what
It's
should they
well.
expect?
Here's my review. I said it's not quite the evolution of Resident Evil 4. Like it's not like the next Resident Evil 4, but
Hmm.
it's a damn good spiritual successor.
Better
And
than
I
Resident Evil 5 as far as that goes.
yeah, I mean I didn't like Resident Evil 5 so much that I
I don't
didn't
think
finish
anybody
it,
did.
but it's I gave it an 8 out of 10. My problems with the game are mostly from a story standpoint.
Hmm.
The lead character isn't much of a character. He just kind of says things and just kind of gives his hard bitten dialogue, but it's like literally all of his backstory is through things that you pick up and read.
Hmm.
And none of it plays into the actual game. So it
Sure.
was like, so at the end of it, I was like, well, if I didn't have any of that stuff, he would be one of the most generic characters ever because you don't really get to know him through that. You see that he
So
went
it's
through
no
something.
Silent Hill. It's no like head scratcher or anything crazy like that. It's just a
No,
straight up.
the game is batshit crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
the game
It's straight.
gets insane.
It is insane. I'll just say real quick, like the opening of that game, like within the first 20 minutes, I was like, holy shit, this is gonna be a fucking
that's nothing.
disgusting. That's what I mean. Like that's the beginning of it. And I
That's
was already like, this is
nothing.
gonna be one hell of a ride, man. Like you're
So
in the
I'm
first
already
minutes
I'm
of it,
already
you're
thinking
knee deep in blood and guts, man. I'm just like, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
I'm already
It's
thinking
not even
since
it's not
we
even
haven't-
blood and guts. It's like it's completely it's very like as a huge fan of horror and I love when horror kind of fucking throws you for a loop and disorienting, and that's what this game is. And it's so seamless. Like you will
Yeah.
go from one location to the next, and it makes perfect sense because I can't give away too much, but it's like traveling through a dreamscape. You know what I mean? Like you're
Totally.
just
Cool.
going from one place to the next, and it makes it. The character might question it and you might question it, but there's no seams. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
everything, and it's so, in that regard, it's very smartly designed, and it was a lot of fun to play. And that game is hard. I died 64 times on the easy difficulty. That game is not easy. That is a hard game.
Yeah, the whole time,
Okay.
every time I died, I kept thinking about that number, Sean, because I'm not playing it on casual. I'm playing it on like the normal mode, and I'm gonna blow past 60, whatever, man. There's no, if I stay on that mode, which I'm not going to, I think I'm gonna restart on casual. But every time I died, I was like, oh god, I wanted to finish it on normal with less kills than you got on casual, and there's no fucking way.
Cool.
And
All
then I also played Shadow of Mordor. I don't have the praise for that game the way other people do. I think it's a solid game. It's fun. The combat is fun, but I feel like outside of the story missions, you're doing like the problem that everybody had with Assassin's Creed. That's the problem I have with it. I feel like I'm doing the same thing
Sure.
over and over and over again. And this nemesis system, you'll kill a dude, but he'll come back. So he's not dead. And I'm like, what the fuck? I thought I killed him. And they're like, no, you killed me, but I came back. And it's like, well, yeah, duh, because I'm
What?
seeing you here. And it's like,
You
Yeah.
you keep coming back, but I never had orcs come back. Like
No.
when I killed
You-
the orc, like those guys were fucking dead. When they're like saying you're
definitely-
back, like that's you, right? But
I've
No,
seen
no, no,
that.
no,
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 I've-
no.
I've heard about
themselves-
this. I've heard they've come
no,
back.
no, no. They
Yeah.
come back.
With like an
Rory,
eye
I
patch
promise
on
you,
or something.
I promise you they come back.
That's
I've,
crazy.
I've had at least 4 or 5 come back, and they look a little different, but they're the same name, and they're like, you
They're all
better
bandaged
kill
up
me.
like those
You better
Revolutionary
make sure you
War
kill me next
soldiers.
time. And I'm like, and I've only had 2 guys escape on me.
Oh,
Everybody
that's
else I
weird.
chased
Yeah,
down
I've
and
seen
murdered.
I've seen the names repeat, and I've even had 2 characters at the same time on the screen with the same name. But I've never had a character that I killed off. I never had the exact same guy come back. He may have had the same name because I've gone through so many guys, and they just don't have enough stuff in there to randomly generate, I guess, an infinite amount of names and characters. But I've never had like the same dude come back and say, well, like what you're saying in a sense, like I'm back from the dead or whatever like that. They've always been just
No, yeah, they literally
variations.
say
Yeah,
that.
I've heard of that. Yeah, that they come
And-
back and they got like an eye patch or whatever because you fucked them up, and they'll
And
say
then-
something along the lines of like you don't have your warg around this time and stuff like.
Oh, that stuff
Yeah.
happens. That stuff that all carries
Yeah.
through. Like if I throw a guy into a fire and he gets out, or if I like hack up a guy but I don't kill him, they definitely come back and recognize you, and they've got the scars from before. But once I've murdered a
The-
dude straight out and executed him, I never once saw like an exact repeat of that guy. I saw something
Yeah.
that might have been close, and yeah, they had the same name, but it wasn't that dude saying, "I'm back from the dead." That's
Yeah.
Rory, I
So-
hate
so
to
I'm
anyways-
not saying it's
but
not
if they're
happening and
using
you're
the
wrong. I'm
same
just saying I
name-
didn't experience that.
if they have the same name and they look the same, that's the same guy. It
Yeah.
just they just
So,
they just look
anyways-
slightly different.
No, but that's what
But
I'm
what
saying. At
else?
The
one
problem-
point, I had two guys. I was fighting two guys at the same time with the same name too. Like
That's
so
a problem.
it's not that
That's
it wasn't
weird.
the same dude. It was just they didn't have enough names to like populate when they're randomly generating the stuff. They just don't have enough in there to randomly generate an infinite amount of names. So you might get somebody that's similar and yes, might have the same name, but I don't know if it's in fact the same guy. But if you guys are saying
No, it
that's
is-
a known
it is the
thing,
same
then I
guy.
believe you.
But the thing that the problem I had with it really hit when I hit the second half of the game. You get to a story beat, and then you get to the second half of the game. And the funny thing is that the stuff that was going on in the first half of the game I found very interesting. And then I get to the second half of the game, and I have to do it all over again. It's not literally the same exact steps, but I have to climb all these towers. I have
Feels
to
a bit
find
like a
all
rinse
these.
and repeat.
I have to find all the same, like the other half of my weapon, like history or whatever. I have to kill all 5 war chiefs again. It's like all that stuff. So I was just like, ugh, like it just kind of deflated me a little bit. And I was like, oh man, like, because I'm not totally enamored with the Nemesis system the way other people are, mostly because I am killing people and they are coming back. So it's a good game. It's a very good game. But it's not, to me, it's not the 9s that it's getting. It's a high 7, low 8.
9, just getting like perfect 10s and stuff. I was blown away at the reviews of that game.
Yeah,
but
I'd probably
yeah,
give
we'll
I'd probably
see.
give it
I'll
a
be
high
picking that up
8 or
this
maybe
week.
a 9, but not
I have
over a
that.
9, but mid 8s to high 8s for sure for me.
I've had that sitting in its GameFly sleeve like for a little over a week because it showed up and then I went on my vacation and I started moving and I haven't had a chance to play it in like a little over a week now. So I'll start that up tomorrow, hopefully.
My character is almost completely maxed out. Like I have almost every single ability. I have maybe like 5 on the ones you get for when you level up, and then I have maybe like 4 left or 5 left when you do the when you have enough points when you do side missions and stuff. So my guy's pretty maxed out. You know, so and the combat isn't nearly as tough anymore. Once you start getting powers, the combat is pretty much you're just blowing through 20 dudes like nothing.
Yeah, but that's
So
when it gets
that part
exciting,
of it's
right? When you
fun.
can use the shadow dash move and you can connect them. That's when I started getting giddy with the gameplay because I'll be fighting 20 orcs, and if I have the full like arrows like maxed out, I can like shadow dash execution and just like dash across in the shadow move, chop off a guy's head, and while that animation's happening, an X prompts up on the next guy, and I can continue that. So I can like shadow dash amongst like 5 guys and just lop off their fucking heads. Once that skill tree unlocked, I was just absolutely hooked to the gameplay. That's all that kept me playing, really, was that I love the Arkham fighting system, and it was like exactly that, but I actually found it even
The
better.
Batman series and the Batman series and the Assassin series are 2 of my favorite genres in like entire franchises of the last generation. So
I think you'll enjoy Mordor.
I wanted to
I think you're
believe
gonna
that
get a
this
kick out of
game
this
might go well, but I really was skeptical. I was like, I don't know if they're going to hit the quality mark. You know what I mean? And so everything
it
that I've heard
has-
about it is pretty solid from what I can tell.
Definitely.
It has some control problems. Like whereas like you want to jump somewhere, it's the same
So it's
problem as
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you want to jump somewhere and you don't jump
That's
to where
cool.
you want to jump,
I
or
can
you
deal with
didn't want to you didn't want to jump, run up a wall, but you did, and
Yeah.
it's you know, because the
That's cool. I look at it this way, man. If I'm an assassin, like if I was really assassin, I think I'd fuck up sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, man, nobody saw that. I'd just look
You-
around and be like, hey, nobody saw me that.
You know what I
didn't
liked
jump
about
off
it
this
too is
building
that
for
you know
no reason.
in Assassin's Creed you have to find like the hay bales to do like a a leap of faith or whatever.
Uh-huh.
What's cool in Shadow
Yeah.
of Mordor, because you have the wraith powers, because you got a wraith sort of taking over your body, is that at any height you can do that anywhere, and you just like leap off, and then midair you turn into the wraith and slam down to the ground, and then get up and you like transform back into like the human form.
Nice.
It's pretty fucking slick.
Nice.
yeah, no, it's definitely cool, and it's funny because it's like I was like, oh look, this is very much like Assassin's Creed. Like even the way you jump and everything, like you do like the swan dive, but then like he does there's you don't need a battle. Hey, you can do it everywhere. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
All right, well,
And
why don't we move along so we can keep going briskly?
Did you
I
say what
did
you were
not
playing?
play
Yeah, okay.
shit. I played nothing. I did play some. So I went on leave. I went to go see my niece get married in Texas. And I played a little bit of Destiny on a 360 down there. And I played Destiny when it first, like at midnight when it launched at my boy Alex's house on his 360. And this was the experience because I was playing on a launch 360, an arcade 360, and
Oof.
on not very good
Who has
internet.
an arcade 360? Jesus.
My new nephew-in-law, or whatever you want to call him.
I'm sorry,
and
kid.
he was like, during loading screens, his ship would just not even show up. And then, like, in the middle of combat, I'd like run over into the corner to like pull up some heavy ammo or something, and it would just never load. Like my weapons would never load. I'm just like standing there waiting, and I'm getting killed, and I'm like, fuck, what the hell? So I contacted a Bungie dev that is over in the Destiny community Facebook group, and I was like, dude, what's the deal here? Is this his internet, or why is this stuff not loading? And apparently it's because the old 360s were just that bad. Like, they get fragged, and you know how you defrag your computer? Well, these don't defrag. They just get worse and worse and worse. The longer you play them, the more you use them, they get slower and slower as the hard drive. And he was like, yeah, the HDD on that thing is garbage. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's good to know. So I told him, I was like, so I should tell my friend not to worry about his internet. It's probably not the problem, and he should get an Xbox One. He was like, absolutely. I was like, all right, great. So I played that, and that was fun. That was a nice little fix since I had gone for about a week without playing Destiny, which is just an absolute addiction for me at this point. And I played a little Halo 3 with my nephew, who's 5, and that was the first time he'd ever played Halo, and that was like magic. It was so cool. We were playing split screen, and he was following me around as the Arbiter, and like he could. So at the opening of Halo 3, you have to like run through the woods or run through this forest, and there's lots of like curves and twists and turns and jumps and slides and all this stuff, and like he did a good job of following me for a 5-year-old. I was totally blown away. I was like, man, this dude knows how to play a first-person shooter for the most part. I mean, like he shot stuff and melee things. I was totally stoked by that. So that was exciting. But other than that, I haven't played anything. So why don't we just move on? Sean, you got some news for us, man.
Yeah, the first up, the NPDs for the month of September came up with some interesting tidbits. I'm going to start with the software, and number one for the month, to no one's surprise, is Destiny. What is kind of surprising is the order in which the most physical. Mind you, the NPDs are physical only, and they don't include bundles.
Yeah.
So this is only physical copies. The Xbox One version of Destiny sold more than the physical PS4 version, and then 360 and PS3. The reason why that's interesting is because for the most part, Sony has led on all the platforms, which is understandable because they have the higher install base. This goes to show that Microsoft giving away a copy of Destiny probably paid off. But I'm not sure how much it did because they did not give any indication of their actual hardware numbers. Not even a, like, we doubled what we sold last month, like nothing. They didn't even mention a word of it. Then the other thing that I found interesting, two things. One, Call of Duty for the first time since it came out is not in the top 10 at all. So last month it was in the top 10.
Yeah, that's crazy to me, man, is seeing that. No Call of Duty.
Middle Earth, Shadow of Mordor, PS4, Xbox One, PC, in that order. That game was only out for 4 days, and it's number 5 on the software list. So that's good. That means that game sold well. Hopefully, we'll see a repeat performance this month, so that maybe we'll get more games in that series. And then the other thing is some notes. Smash Brothers was number 4 for the 3DS, and it sold 705,000 copies, with 135,000 of them being digital. So that's pretty good for a 3DS game. Um, Curious to see how that's going to do for when it comes out for the Wii U next month. I still don't think the Wii. I still don't think it's going to help the Wii U. If Mario Kart didn't help the Wii U, Smash Brothers, which didn't sell nearly as well on the Wii as Mario Kart did. I don't think that's going to really do much.
The new Mario Kart didn't come to the 3DS, right?
No.
No. Yeah. There's a no. Are you sure?
Mario Kart
No,
7
Mario
was the last
Kart
one
8
on
is
3DS.
exclusive
Okay.
to Wii U.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the Destiny is the best-selling game of the year so far. No surprise there, which is crazy. To put things in perspective, Watch Dogs
Titanfall,
sold.
Infamous, Watch Dogs, yeah.
Well, no, I mean, Titanfall and Infamous, they sold well, but Watch Dogs sold 6 million copies in its first week. So this is sold better than that, which is great for a new IP. That's insane.
Yeah.
Hardware wise, all we have to go on. The 3DS sold 104K. Wii U, all that Nintendo said was that it was up 50% from August. And for PS4, they said nearly triple of what they sold in August, and that's somewhere around 500,000 units. That's 500,000 units in 1 month, and that's also, I think, why Destiny physical is better on Xbox One, because I think a lot of people bought those white PS4s. But that is crazy.
Oh, okay. So all the digital copies that came with it.
Well, it comes with a physical copy, but they don't.
Really?
It doesn't have a barcode on it, so and it can't count. It can't count as a physical sale. It's a bundle. MPD does not do bundles or digital games. So, but
I hope they start looking
Activision
at digital sales soon. I'd like to start seeing the digital sales incorporated.
They're going to get pressure. You know they will.
According to Activision internal estimates, the PS4 system is the #1 platform worldwide for Destiny, based on units sold through as of October 4th, 2014.
Yeah.
2014 was a record-breaking month for PlayStation's digital business, thanks in large part to Destiny, which means they probably sold a shit ton on digital. And then, Microsoft, all they said was, we believe this will be one of our best holiday seasons ever. We're offering great Xbox One bundles. So I think, like, what I was trying to say, like, a couple of episodes ago about the Xbox One, they're not giving that information anymore, because I don't think they're outpacing the Xbox 360 anymore. And number two, even if they sell well, they're probably in third place.
Yeah, you can't. You're not going to be like, we're the #2 console. They're not going to
probably number
throw
3
those out there.
They're probably behind Wii U.
At this point.
But I mean, what are they going to say? There's nothing they could do at that point. Maybe when they hit a milestone of 10 million
I'm
or something.
That we've seen a lot of interesting and smarter moves out of Microsoft this year, and I think that their PR is probably trying to be as careful as possible at this point. They don't want to say things that they don't want. I don't think they want to stretch it, so they're going to be like cautious with how they say what they say. They're watching it. I'm sure PR in general is probably getting a very strong, more like Eye of Sauron look from the rest of the Xbox division, where they're like, okay, so now what are you going to say? Okay, so how are you going to say that? You know what I mean? Like, so they're not just going to come out and start throwing numbers around unless it's the right thing to say.
And that's the thing. Like, at this point, they want to control the message. There's absolutely nothing they can say. Even not saying anything is a tacit admission that they didn't sell as well as they wanted to. So better to not say. If you ignore it, if you just don't acknowledge it, that's one thing. But it can't. The message can't be everything but what they're saying, because at this point you're just speculating. So that's it. All you got to do is speculate.
Yeah, it leaves people with less ammunition, technically.
Yeah, exactly. So it's exactly, because at this point you're just like, okay, well, they don't mention it, and that's really all you can really say. So, but yeah, that's the NPDs. That was pretty interesting.
Oh yeah.
And then, it is to me. I mean, I like numbers. I like following the industry.
I'm just playing with you.
And I like seeing. I mean, taking out the fact. I mean, like I said, like taking out the fact that PS4 versus Xbox One, whatever. There's a console on the market that has sold probably over 11 million units in its first 11 months.
Oh yeah,
that's crazy.
It's unbelievable. Yeah,
And
and also stuff like this, like not only does it bode well for Sony and gamers and PlayStation fans and blah blah blah, but it also bodes well for the industry and it attracts attention from outside of the industry. A lot of people would freak out by that because you're going to get more like Nokia CEOs coming in and taking over shit, but you're going to get more and more attention, and that brings more and more money, and that brings more and more possibilities and potential and stuff. So it is
there's
ultimately really cool.
one last little tidbit. The overall retail sales rose 2% over year. The software has declined 35% year over year.
But now they brought up
which-
though. I think that's last year at this time it was Grand Theft Auto 5, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the
Like
thing.
so they were like
Last year-
that numbers isn't really like that telling of like where the industry is in a sense. It's just really
Yeah,
saying that Grand
for
Theft
sure.
Auto 5 kind of just
Also,
blew
this
up
is
the
the
fucking
calm before the
world.
storm. Like these months are the calm before the storm. Like that's
Well, in September of last year, there was Grand Theft Auto 5, and
Yeah.
that bumped up the numbers so
Year
far
yeah.
that you can't really judge it appropriately with.
Yeah, I'd be
You know what I
interested
mean?
to hear 2012 versus 2014 numbers, but also like who cares? Like this is obviously going to be a
it's
better
still
year.
interesting to see how. I mean, that just goes to show how.
I'd be interested to see what
huge-
next September looks like. Like what the fuck else is going to come out in September that registers compared to Destiny and GTA 5?
Red
Like,
Dead
what
Redemption
else?
2.
Yes, Red Dead Redemption. Like nothing else. I can't think of a single friend. Well, Fallout. Like Fallout 4 coming out in September or August or something like that would be the only thing to make me think like, oh shit, like sales in September are going to be huge again. But
I'd be curious about that. I know a lot of people are waiting for Fallout 4. It's got a lot of love, a lot of people anticipating it, but I don't think it's going to make like a dent. the way
Skyrim
that
sold in a
Grand
way that just blew Bethesda's minds.
All right.
Like Skyrim, so all you got to do is put in a trailer, the follow up, blah blah blah,
Yeah, from the
like spin
creators
it
of
however, and then throw
Skyrim.
Skyrim, and people go, oh shit,
Yeah.
more Skyrim stuff.
call.
It's like Skyrim with guns.
That's what's gonna be. That's gonna be hilarious. But yeah,
Adam
I
Koven
think
from Machinima didn't say this about this game. It's like Skyrim with guns.
20. I think Skyrim wound up selling like 20 million units.
Yeah, and it's just because it was such a hardcore RPG. Like people did not expect it to sell like it did. I'm not saying it's going to sell anything like Destiny or GTA.
No,
but
but
that's
I mean,
the only thing that I can
it
picture
seemed,
that
I
could
would never
come out
like
in
consider
September.
that like a hardcore RPG. I guess it is, but like I'm not a big RPG guy
yeah.
whatsoever, and like I couldn't get into Oblivion. It was too much. Games like that are usually too much for me in the sense of just scale and time that needs to be put into them. But Skyrim
Well,
just
when I
spoke
say
to me
hardcore,
so
I just mean
differently
like
than like
it has
other RPGs.
there
I put
are
100
so
hours
many
into that thing.
there's so many mechanics in there that you don't have to use, but you can really dive into and get crazy. And so if you compare it to a Fable or even I don't know, just something a little more kind of like cut and dry. It just wasn't expected. Like no one expected Skyrim to sell the way it did. Like I know everyone anticipated it a lot, but just for the critical mass that it hit.
You put
So that would be
dragons in
a-
your game, you're
I-
good, unless you're Factor 5 and
I-
you're making layer.
Well, I think Game of Thrones helped.
I think Rory, what you're trying to say is that it was more accessible.
Yeah, totally.
It really was. Though.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
And-
but the Elder Scrolls series is kind of a hallowed RPG series, but they did a great job of making it very accessible. They pissed a lot of fans off and made a lot of changes.
Yeah,
and
that's the thing.
it
It's a
really
great
worked out
role-playing
for-
game. I would never like label it as
Yeah.
like a hardcore RPG in any way.
Here's the
mainly
funny
because
thing,
I
though,
really got
and-
into it, and I don't know.
And I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I might be wrong, but I doubt I am.
No, of
That
course not.
I think Fallout 3 helped Skyrim.
I would totally agree. I would agree with that simply because they learned so much from working on Fallout 3, and
but also because Fallout 3 was really popular.
yes, it was. Yeah, it gave them a little more cred because everyone liked Oblivion, but by the time Skyrim came along, I think a lot of people may have forgotten about Oblivion. Like gamers who aren't really like, oh yeah, I played that. Yeah, it was really pretty, and then I played like 4 more years worth of video games, so I don't remember how that went. So then by the time Skyrim came along, you were like, remember the guys that made Fallout? Okay, they're making they're making a game with dragons. And you're just like,
Yeah.
So now it's going to go the other way. So you're going to be like, remember the guys that made Skyrim? Now they have a post-apocalyptic video game with, Imagine Dragons doing the soundtrack.
I don't know,
Anyways,
it's gonna be pretty hard to top Dragons.
yeah, laser dragons. The guys that made Far Cry Blood Dragon are gonna work on Fallout 4.
I'm in.
Okay, so the next thing,
Yeah.
this isn't really for me. This is more for you and the listeners.
Gimme.
Halo Master Chief Collection has gone gold.
Yes.
So that, not that it wasn't anyone doubted that it was going to go gold, but it does come out in about 3 weeks.
Jizzed
And,
in my pants. I'm so excited for this game.
But the crazy thing to me is that it comes with a 20 gig patch.
I don't know what the fuck that is. Like Halo
That's
4
because
came
that
with a
game
huge
could
patch
not
because
fit
of
on
Spartan
one
Ops.
fucking disc.
Yeah, and I think the one disc thing was actually an internal hard selling point for themselves. Their point was, hey, let's get all the Master Chief's saga on one console on one disc.
I think
And
they should have
so-
just done 2 discs.
Sure, why not? Like, who gives a shit at that point,
Because because here's the thing, like 20 gigs is a fucking huge download. That's a whole game.
Yep.
And if you need that, like I think Abdallah said that that's multiplayer stuff.
Yes, because you can. So yeah. One of the points. Dala did make a point of this. You can play the campaign while you're downloading the patch. So it must
Cool.
be maps. It must be assets. It's probably sounds and shit for the new maps. And
I think
stuff.
it's a lot of the multiplayer. They just couldn't fit it
Mhm.
in there, right? And they didn't want to compromise. So most of the multiplayer stuff is like part of that patch. And if you
It might be
digitally
like DLC
pre-download
for
the
Halo
game,
4. And
yeah, and if
the
you
Halo
digitally
2
pre-download
anniversary
the game,
maps.
you get that patch downloaded too. So if you're going digital, that's what's swaying
Yeah,
a lot of
that's a
people
good
to go
point.
digital on this one, is that they can preload even that 20 gig patch and be ready to go at
Mhm.
midnight launch and have that patch in there ready to go.
And anybody
I think-
listening to this before the release, the preload, the pre-download, the pre-purchase is all available right now. So
Yep.
if you want to get it digitally, you can just download it right now.
The thing that my personal opinion, and this has nothing to do with Halo or anything, it's just I think they should have done 2 discs, 1 disc multiplayer, 1 disc campaign.
Yeah, I could see that. And that's
so this
that
way
kinda
you
speaks
can-
to.
Yeah,
Because
but they
there
don't
are
want
people
people
that are probably
swapping
gonna wanna
discs either.
jump
It's all
right
one
into-
unified package, right? It's like it's all built around being.
If this wasn't a
unified
first-party
system.
game, it would definitely be on multiple discs. I think one of the selling points for the Xbox and for all this stuff is that fast switching and that let's try to keep things on one disc and blah blah. So I would agree with that a smart way to do it, Sean, would be doing the 2 discs and splitting it between one and the other. But
Because here's the thing, though, like talking about swapping disc, I can imagine once people are into multiplayer, they're not probably going to swap back to the campaign all that much. You know what I
Maybe.
mean? So it's like
Yeah.
just putting it on the one disc. I mean, I get it. I'm just saying, like, I know there's going to be people that want to play the multiplayer right from the get go.
well,
they're not going to be
do it
able
like
to.
just
Well,
do
yeah,
it like any GTA
anybody
or
that
any
goes
other game
digital
does,
release
where
is
you
definitely
put
going to
the
get to
first
play it
disc in.
instantly.
We'll put the first disc in. It installs all the assets and shit. Put the second disc in that gives you the rest of it with the multiplayer and all that stuff, and then have it require only the second disc if you want to do this and that. I mean, that's instead of this like 20 gig download patch thing. So yeah, who knows? I don't know.
Like I have no horse in this race. I just know that there's a lot of people excited to play multiplayer and
Fuck
they're buying the
yes.
physical, and they're not going to be able to play it right away because they're going to have to download this patch.
Nah, no worries. They'll figure it out. I mean, like, I get it. I get that this is all heartache for a lot of people, but this is, I mean, in the end, who cares? Like, this game is just for the people who are excited for it, and the people who are mad that they like won't be able to play immediately, like right away, the first second that they get it. Like, in a week, they won't even care because they're just going to be like pigs and shit and just.
No, that's true. I mean, that's true
Yeah.
with anything. I mean, that's
Yeah.
true with anything.
So they also we've also seen a whole lot of new stuff. We've seen gameplay of the Gun Goose. We saw Blood Gulch is now Coagulation is now Bloodline.
Yeah, it
we've
looks
seen
awesome,
tons of
too.
60 frames gameplay that just looks fucking insane. We've finally seen what you saw. Did you see? Have you seen? Well, I don't know if you've been paying. You said you haven't been paying attention to the coverage, but how much of the game did you see when you were at GameStop?
I was online waiting for Sunset Overdrive, and I just saw people playing it. So I have no idea what map it was. I just know that it looked really good, and it looked really smooth. That's all I know. It was gorgeous to look at, and it looked fast. That was it. Like, I didn't get into the minutia because A, I'm not a Halo fan, and B, I was online for something else.
So, as the Halo, as like the resident Halo fan, my thoughts so far are it was a concern for me, and Sean, you talked about how like seeing Halo 2 and seeing Halo 1, like going match to match and playing the different maps and stuff is going to be really jarring and kind of annoying. I think so far, from what I've heard from hands-on accounts and just watching the highlight reels and the quick gameplays and stuff like that, I think the only real jarring thing is going to be the drastic change in controls and setup. So, certain games have, equipment and sprint, and certain games have dual wield and other games don't. And that's going to be annoying, or at least an adjustment for people going map to map and match to match, because you don't exactly, as it stands, you're not going to have like, I want to play all Halo 2 maps. You go by game type. So you're like, I want to play SWAT. So any game, any map that had SWAT on it, it'll juggle you between the different maps, and you can vote on which one you want. So, you might play a Halo 3 map, and then you'll hop over to a Halo 4 map, and then back to a Halo 1 map. And there are drastic differences in just gameplay, like how your character works between
the
those
sandboxes
three.
are totally different. It's going to be nuts.
But
I
as
think
it
that
all
sounds
runs
terrible.
yeah, I know. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be an experiment. But as it all runs at a very smooth 60 from what I could see. We'll see how it works online, but everything that I've seen so far runs incredibly smooth. That smoothness really helps translate the older games into a like modern feel, and I think that was a really smart choice by them because, as we've said and as everybody said so far, Halo has always been at 30 frames. It's never been at 60 frames. Like Halo 4 wasn't even at 60 frames. So to see it all at the same frame rate and at 1080p now, all kind of on a same bar here, I think that really helps the older maps and helps the older game feel modern. But I'm really anxious to get my hand in that game. There's so much there. Rory, did you want to talk about the achievement?
Yeah, I was
real
just going to
quick?
say that was one of the coolest things that I saw in one of the later videos on IGN's doing this whole month-long IGN First thing, and they're getting lots of great information about the game out there. And one of the coolest things I saw was the leaderboards and the achievement system that they built into the game. So the leaderboards thing, I'll keep it quick on this. I don't know too much about how deep it goes, but what I thought was really interesting that stood out to me was that I could set rivals on my friends list. So Drew, you've got Halo Master Chief Collection, so do I. I'm looking at the leaderboards and I'm seeing that you dominated a certain level under a certain amount of time and killed certain guys, a certain amount of guys. I can set you as a rival, and then in real time as I'm playing through the levels, there's a new piece of user interface that's up on the screen tracking in real time how my progress is in comparison to yours. So while I'm playing the game, I can see that happening in real time on the screen.
It's so cool. It's like split time. It's like it's green if you're ahead, it's red if you're going behind.
It's awesome.
Like that is so fucking ridiculous. And it also does that for achievements.
Yeah.
So, we've got people in the Halo community that are working on, they're already planning to work on achievement guides and try to help like do achievement hunting nights in the Evolved community. And this almost kind of breaks that, like, because you don't even have to coordinate with anybody. You just fucking hit a button. You go, I want this achievement, and it takes you to the moment.
Yeah, that blew my mind. When I saw that,
you.
I was just like, that was the moment when I went, holy shit! Like I knew these guys are putting a lot of work and effort into this package, but that was the moment when I went, God damn! Like this truly isn't just a collection of stuff put together. So yeah, you're looking at the achievements, and you just click on like, oh, there's an achievement for killing. I'm making this one up, but like killing a certain amount of grunts or whatever in a certain amount of time on a certain level, and you just click the achievement that you want, and it instantly takes you to that part of that particular game, so that you can do the achievement. Like it's crazy.
Like Lasso. So Legendary All Skulls On is a like long time like just homegrown challenge that Halo fans have been doing forever since Halo 2 when they introduced skulls into the game. And you can turn them on and off. You had to go find the skulls in the game. You didn't even know they were there. Like the game doesn't even tell you they're there. You find the skulls, and then after that you can turn them on or off. And it's really cool that you can just push like, yeah, I want to do lasso, and it sets up the lasso for you. Like you don't even have to like do anything. You can just be in a party with your friends and go, hey, you want to do the lasso thing? Yeah, let's do it. So I wanted to connect some dots for some people who've been listening to, like fans who've been listening to any of the like PR speak about Halo, and Kiki Wolfkill and Bonnie Ross, some of the leadership at 343, have been talking about how like Halo, the Master Chief Collection, what they're doing with it and what they're doing with the Xbox One is going to influence other studios and influence all first party Xbox games. And I think this achievement thing is one of the most perfect examples to point at and be like, watch, Gears of War, Fable, Forza, everything from now on is going to have this example. Like you're going to be able to just queue up an achievement hunting session. Or,
I love it.
you know,
I hope that's the case. I think
gonna
it's
have
a
shit like
phenomenal
that.
feature. It looks awesome. Now, when we get it, we'll have to see in practice like how well it works. But if it works like they've been showing off in the videos, it's fucking flawless. So I'm really excited about that feature.
Yeah. Was there anything else that stood out to you, Rory, that you saw?
That was
For
the
Halo?
latest thing. You know, there's just so much information about that game coming out. So one of the cooler things was just seeing the Halo 3 campaign stuff in action. I
At
know it
60?
hasn't been getting as
Man.
much love as like Halo 2. It's not getting a full facelift, but what they've been able
Yeah.
to do with just some new shaders and things like that, because it's not just an upres. They've done a couple
It's
little
like
tweaking
lighting
here
and
and there.
shaders and
Yeah, and some of the lighting is incredible. So I
Yeah.
haven't played through like Halo 1 and 2 fully and invested a lot of time into them like a lot of other Halo fans are. Halo 3 was the first one I like completed on my own, and I did it co-op, but that was the first Halo that I really got into, invested time into. So I'm excited to go back and check out these campaigns for sure. Halo 3 looks
It's
great.
as a longtime Halo guy, sometimes I forget that, you know, there's like an entire generation right now that are like chomping at the bit to play Halo 2. I mean, like, so, you know, we
Well,
also
Halo
have
1's never
Podcast
even been
Evolve.
able to be played over Xbox Live, I don't think, right? So like
Not the multiplayer. Yeah,
exactly.
no, not
So
on
this
Xbox
is nuts.
Live.
So like I don't know. It's just a crazy package. I haven't seen anything quite like this. Like again, not being the biggest Halo fan, I'm taking notice and being like, God damn, okay, I
But
gotta
like,
get this. And
so
look at
for
this thing.
instance, like we have the Podcast Evolve Halo, the Halo podcast on the network. One of our hosts has never even played Halo 2 online ever. She's never played Halo 2 online. She's been playing Halo for a long time, but she, you know, came on after that because she's very young. And so she's like totally stoked to play Halo 2 maps for the first time ever, which is just blows my mind. Like she's a longtime Halo fan. She knows all about like all the lore and stuff. So this is if for me, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. You know, I'm like, I'm stoked to play Halo 2, but now I'm starting to really realize like how many different facets there are to this collection. Like it's got something for everybody. Like I have yet to think of a fan that is just like, nah, you know, like, oh, I got enough Halo in my life. Like this is everything. This has everything. I really think that this is going to set the bar for any kind of collection that anybody does ever after this. That it's going to be like the orange box. You know, we've been calling it the Halo box on the show. Like it's going to be like the orange box where anybody who does anything remotely like this in the future is going to be judged against this, and they're going to be like, yeah, it's cool, but man, I wish they would have done it like the Master Chief Collection because that is just fucking ridiculous.
It's insane.
So-
They really are pulling out all the stops, and they've gone above and beyond what I would honestly expect any studio out there to do. Like even the top studios out there, it's just like it's crazy. So hats off to 343. I hope it all
Sure.
comes together and turns out great, and I hope that Halo
I really
5
hope this
multiplayer beta
moves
is
units
insane.
for X. I really hope this moves units for Microsoft too. Like I really do. I think that it's like you can't pick a more perfect thing to sell an Xbox with, especially for people who haven't made the jump to the One yet, or who've been considering it or something. This is the game that's got to move units, right?
It's
Sean?
definitely going to
I mean,
move units. It's going to be I'm going to be curious to see what the numbers are, but there's going to be a boost for sure of units sold around Master Chief.
Yeah.
I disagree. Mostly because I feel like Halo, as popular as it is, it's an Xbox brand. I feel like most of the people already bought
You
the
think so?
Xbox One.
Yeah.
I think it'll have a really high attach rate. Xbox. Hold, are you there? Hold on.
Yeah. What's that?
my Xbox started talking. Xbox, go back.
Xbox, stop listening to me.
Um,
Don't look at me.
See, I'm almost
Xbox,
feeling that
go
like
back.
for every 3 people that already have an Xbox, there's at least one person that's waiting until a Halo game hits Xbox.
There's got to be a lot of people on 360 still, and I wonder if this.
I'm not saying it's. I just don't think it's going to move the needle that much. I
for
think most
for
of
the hardware.
I don't think I honestly don't think this. I think this collection is going to be successful for Microsoft. It's probably going to be their biggest seller for their first party studios, but I don't think it's going to. It's a collection. Like as much as they're doing to it, it's still a collection, and I don't think. I mean, I'd love to be wrong because if I'm wrong and this is successful, maybe I'll get that Call of Duty collection for
Yeah,
next
well, people
gen.
are going to dive in
The Call
simply
of
for
Duty
the
4.
beta, man. A lot of fans
Like,
are going to jump
you know what
in
I mean?
just for that Halo 5 beta alone. Like,
And
they'll buy that
I'm
Master
telling
Chief
you, I
Collection, they'll
think
buy their Xbox One so that they can get that Halo 5 multiplayer beta.
I don't. I just think I think that those people already have Xboxes. The a
Yeah,
significant
I
number
would
of
agree
people.
that the large portion of them do. We'll see. We'll see. So what's next? What do we got? Are we done with
Now
news
this
or?
is yeah. That's the news. I mean, there's other stuff, but it's not as important. And I want to get to the topic of the week, which is the inter- every week it seems like there's a new internet kerfuffle, and the
Oh
internet
yeah,
kind of
man.
exploded
I've
over the
so taken a
trailer for
hippie
this
approach to all
game
this. I'm sorry.
called Hatred. And basically, Hatred is a indie game, which is probably going to remain forever on PC.
Hmm.
Rory's going to fire up the trailer.
I
and
tried.
maybe,
Yeah, it's
maybe
weird.
some
It's not.
images and
It's
stuff.
playing on my computer, but it's
Okay.
not playing for
Well,
videos.
this image right here that you can see. I'm sorry for those listening at home, but it's the guy in a police station, and there's a bunch of people dead, and he's running around shooting. And basically, the game, the trailer starts with this guy looking like a reject from Hot Topic and The Undertaker, talking about how he hates society and everyone's going to pay, and he just walks outside and just starts shooting indiscriminately at everyone. And there's lots and lots and lots of cutaways to him putting guns in people's mouths, blowing their faces off, heads off, people begging for their lives and shooting at it. And basically, the general gist, I can't speak to what the whole entire game is because it's a minute and 40-second trailer, is that this is just a murder game. You like walk around indiscriminately murdering
What was
people.
his name? Oh, damn it! Murder Simulator guy. There was a politician years ago. Jack Thompson.
He wasn't a
Fool-
politician.
I'm sorry,
Who has
lawyer.
been? He's a
He's
lawyer
been
who has
disbarred
since
like
been
several
disbarred.
times.
But yeah, he
was
you
the
know,
one
he
that
would
kept
have a
calling
field day with
GTA and
this.
stuff calling them murder simulators. And the whole deal was like he would make video games sound like this. He would make any video game sound like it's this game. And now this game finally exists.
Yeah, and
I mean,
and
this is beyond Postal, right? Like Postal was like gleeful and stupid. This is attempting to try to have this stupid like hardcore, like Columbine mindset bullshit of like I'm gonna make everyone pay for my life, blah 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 blah. Like it's so funny how spot on this tone is.
And the thing is, like, first of all, I think it looks gorgeous. Like it's a good looking game.
It
Like,
runs really smooth. I was impressed that like I expected from the intro where he's being so cheesy. So I expected like to see just the dumbest, shittiest game. You know what I mean? And it doesn't look like a bad game, but the subject matter is obviously you're up to your taste, I guess.
Well, that's exactly the point. That's the
Yeah.
thing. Like there's people walking around saying this game shouldn't exist. They're saying that this is disgusting and it's going to set things back. And here, you know what? To them, I say shut the fuck up because video games. If we just won a Supreme Court case in which video games are protected as free speech, and we were celebrating the shit out of that and saying yes, games are art, games are art, games are art. Finally something comes out that pushes the boundaries a little further than what quote, we're supposedly comfortable with, and now we're sitting there damning this. It's like, well, you can't have it both ways. Either games are art or they're not, and if they're not, then they're not subject to free speech and all this other stuff. But if they are and you're going to celebrate that, you have to take the good with the bad, and this game, wherever your tastes lie, this game has a right to exist. And the fact that anybody thinks that this game shouldn't exist just simply because of the content, well, I got to say, there's a lot of people who feel the same way about Grand Theft Auto.
I come from a town. I come from the Midwest, bro. I'm from Kansas, man. So I totally know the people that are like up in
Here
arms
we go.
about anything like this. Yeah, we got the trailer rolling right now. So if you're watching on YouTube, this is the trailer. So I'm from the town that birthed the Westboro Baptist Church. So
Oh,
Fred
jeez.
Phelps, all those fools that went and like to go protest like soldiers' funerals, and they registered websites like GodHatesFags.com, God Hates the World, or GodHatesAmerica.com, blaming stuff like New Orleans on gays and stuff like that. Like just the most ridiculous people on the planet, and they are protected under free speech, and that is the whole point because they're all lawyers. And this is kind of the same tone. This is like someone saying, "Hey, I'm gonna push the boundaries to see what you do." Like this game literally only exists to get attention. I'm sure it doesn't have any actual like motive of like trying to paint a like reflection on humanity and blah blah blah. If it's as pure as it looks to be in this trailer, which I kind of hope it is. I hope it just does this with a straight face from start to finish. It's just a shock show. It's fucking G.G. Allen on stage doing what he does.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But in
But
video
that's-
game form.
The thing is, the difference I find between what your correlation between the West Baptist Church is that this game, as far as I know, unless there's more to it and this game goes deeper and way more into lines that I wouldn't even cross, this seems to be indiscriminate. This is not targeting any sexual
no,
preference,
no.
anything. This is just a general misanthropic game.
For sure.
And-
No, I don't mean
and-
this. I don't think that this game has any like actual hatred in it. As cheesy as that sounds, I think it's just doing this for pure shock value, doing it because it can at this point. And like you're saying, it's good timing with this Supreme Court ruling, and with video games in the limelight the way they are. This is the time for someone to stand up and pull a Marilyn Manson or an Alice Cooper and get people uncomfortable and get people wondering like, what do we do here? And this is the time where as a medium, we need to be like, yeah, there's a place for this. Just like there's a place for fucking shitty ass movies with, that are borderline snuff films. There's a place for those in film. They don't need to be on billboards on the side of a highway. You know what I mean? Like this isn't going to be on this.
Have you guys watched that movie before?
No, I've heard of it. I know exactly what you're talking about. And there's a place for that. There's a place for like.
No,
like,
there totally is. My point was just being
Yeah.
that like, hatred. The trailers like set the world on fire. The internet's blowing up. But like, I totally agree with Sean and the whole thing. If we're trying to like fight for these games to be art, then we have to let art be art. And some of it's distasteful. You
Yep.
don't have to agree with it.
Gotta
You don't
let-
have to accept it. But we can't say it
Warts and
can't
all, man.
exist.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, like banning and censorship and all that stuff. I understand the motivation that a lot of people have, but I know that there are like.
The
just
moment
like
you
have
do that,
let
you have
in
to
all the
hold
bad-
filmmakers and writers and painters, if we are going to think
For
about
sure.
this as art, to the same sort of standard where it's, you can't paint that now. You can't write about that. Like, I've seen movies, a Serbian film included, that are way fucking worse than anything I saw in Hatred in that game trailer.
Sure.
And that stuff's allowed to
And the
exist.
thing
And
is,
sure, certain areas
the
might
beauty,
not.
the beauty of a video game is you have to put input into the video game. So even if somebody bought you the video game and installed it on your computer, it's not going to hurt you, man. It's not. No one's pulling some fucking Clockwork Orange shit and sitting you down, prying your eyes open, and just gluing your hands to a controller and making you play this game. So the kerfuffle, which is just to bring it back to what this is all about. The people freaking out about this, of course they're going to freak out about this. They're going to freak
they're
out about
allowed to,
fucking
right?
anything.
That's the thing too. They're allowed
Yeah,
to freak
for
out
sure.
about this game. They have
But
every
the
right
moment,
to freak out
the
about
moment people start asking for like censorship or banning or removal and blah blah, that's the moment that as like a reasonable person, that's when I just tune you out.
Totally.
And I'm just like,
Exactly.
hey
And
man,
I
here's
ran
that's how
into
you
that
feel?
stuff at
Cool.
film school all the
Sorry,
time.
fuck
It was
off,
like, I
bro.
want to make a movie and I want it to be like this because I want to see some stuff like this. And they shot me down. They're like, well, you can't really do that because we don't really want our students making films like that. I'm like, well, what the fuck are we doing here then? If I can't learn to make what I want
Yeah,
to make, if I
what's the
can't
point?
artistically express myself, like, there's got to be other people that want to watch something that I want to watch. I can't be the only person, and it's just crazy. It drives me nuts when somebody says, you can't do this as far as like an art form goes. That it's unacceptable.
here-
And again,
here's-
Sean's brought it
here's
up,
the
like, whose
problem.
line is it, right? Like, who's making
Yeah,
these
that's the
judgment
thing,
calls?
like,
Are we going to end up
somebody-
in a world where we have a committee that's saying now what's right and what's wrong and what's acceptable for me to ingest as entertainment? Like, fuck that.
There's-
Yeah, it's like the
there's
electronic.
a couple of things
Services
I'd like to
Rating Board
bring
or
up.
something.
I'd like to bring up. Number
Yeah.
one, my problem isn't that people are complaining about it existing. My problem is that some of the people that are complaining about it existing are okay with GTA, and they're
Oh yeah,
justifying
the double
it
standard
by
patrol
saying
is like, you know,
by
they're always
saying
around.
that, well, you have a reason to do it. There's context. I'm like, the context is you're a fucking criminal.
Well,
There's
it's,
no
it's
GTA.
satire a little
You
bit,
have
though, Grand Theft Auto, is it not?
But who says this isn't satire?
Well,
Even
that's
if it's
true. We
not, you
don't.
could sit-
Everybody's jumping on a minute and a half trailer and drawing conclusions. And,
Oh, for
But
sure.
the thing
yeah,
is,
exactly.
like, it could be so ridiculous that it turns into satire. Like, this could be so straight-faced that somebody could turn around. There's a movie I saw, called Torque. It's a motorcycle movie. It's like a motorcycle movie that's a response to Fast and Furious.
Yeah, I remember
To me, it is
Torque.
one of the... To me, it's one of the funniest comedies that I've ever seen in my entire life. The filmmakers could have been totally making a serious movie, but you can't tell me that because that movie makes me laugh harder than any comedy. So if this game turns into a fucking satire, it's because it's so ridiculously over the top, which it seems like it is. It's just so ridiculous and gratuitous that I think it's funny. But the thing is, number two, we have a rating system.
Yep.
We have that in place. Trust it to do what it's supposed to do. And if this gets an adults only rating, that's what it gets.
Yep.
Let it do that. Let it go through the process like every other video game does, and then it has to get rated. And then when it's it is what it is. Like a lot of places won't sell that. First of all, what bothers me is that I'll never even get to play this because this will never see the light of day on consoles, and that's because it's a closed system and they have to go through an approval process with Microsoft and with Sony, and they're not gonna put their green stamp on this. They're not going to.
No.
So this is going to be sold in the wild, wild west of the PC, and so it's not even going to make that big of a deal. This game is going to come and go, probably not without much fanfare.
Well, so this is the fanfare. Like the funny thing about this game and like people's like shocked reaction to it is this is literally the perfect time for this trailer to pop up for this game. Like, who even knows when this fucking game comes out? Who cares? This is the most it's going to be talked about. There's probably going to be some gameplay trailers on YouTube. Maybe somebody big plays it, and like somewhere on the internet someone tries to form a petition to ban them because they played this ultra-violent video game and blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Like, there's going to be some talk about it, but that's it. Like, that's it. This game isn't going to matter to anybody at all.
And that's the thing. The reason why I want to play it, and the weird thing is that these arguments that people make are so straw man. They're like, well, somebody actually said the words, well, because they said, who would want to play this? What sick fuck would want to play this? I said, well, I want to play this. I like to test my limits. I like to see what I can do, and I'm curious, genuinely curious to see what the game is saying, if anything. And
yeah, I watched
that's
Two
just-
Girls, One Cup.
I've never watched that because I don't have an interest in
I've
seeing
seen
that.
that.
You know what I mean? Like, I know what it is, and I don't want to see it. But like,
So I
the thing
posted a
is-
link. I posted a link in the chat. Us old folks will remember a game called Thrill Kill.
Yep.
Thrill Kill was this like super ultra violent side-scrolling fighting game, and but the fact that it was violent wasn't the thing that got attention. There were huge BDSM themes in it: bondage, domination, sadomasochism. And because of the sexual themes, it got an adult-only rating. And literally, like 2 weeks before it was supposed to be on sale, some places even had shipments of it. It was removed and it was canceled and it was banned and it was like just fucking done. And Thrill Kill is a perfect example of, you know, that game. I don't think that game was indie. I think that was Midway or somebody. It was a weird situation, but like Thrill Kill is like a modern version of Thrill Kill, just getting people's attention, trying to go as
and
like,
here's
ridiculous
the thing.
as possible.
Here's something else that about the art argument. Art is supposed to make you feel something. Art is supposed to, like, not every piece of art has to push boundaries, but there is art that push boundaries. Look at the films in the 70s, like the Maverick filmmakers that were coming out in the 70s, Cassavetes, Kubrick. All these people were pushing boundaries, and they were allowed to. Could you imagine what the world would be like if they weren't allowed to push these boundaries?
We would
And I don't want.
yeah, this is how progress happens, you know.
I
mean,
don't
like
want to
it's like
see
not
that.
that this is part of progress, but this is how progress happens.
And this is like I want there to be the games on there. I want there to be, and the thing is, like, everybody has their own line. And if this game or any other game or any other piece of art crosses your personal line, so be it. I respect that. You
Yeah.
have your line. But to sit there and cast this wide net saying that people who want to play this game or people who are interested or people who are defending this game's right to exist have no morals, you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah,
Because
it's a double-edged sword, right? So on one side you have, hey, I got my preferences, you got your preferences. You are uncomfortable with watching something like Eyes Wide Shut, whereas I would love to watch Eyes Wide Shut right now. And I don't blame you for not wanting to watch it. But if you judge me or condemn me or restrict me from watching it, you're doing the opposite of what I'm not doing. Like, I'm not forcing you to watch
Exactly.
this movie. Why should you force me not to watch this movie? So I'm not
Exactly.
forcing you to play this game. Why should you condemn anyone else for actually playing it? Because they're not forcing you to do it. You should not force them not to do it. That's how that fucking works.
Yeah, I
That's
noticed
how
a
you
lot of
don't
people
double
forcing
standard.
their own morals upon other people, and a lot of the conversations that we were having on Facebook with different groups about
Sure.
the subject matter, and that's what was bugging me a lot, and I think that's what was probably bugging Sean a lot too. Where it's like you're totally fine in having your personal lines crossed, but saying that you're drawing lines for other people essentially. Sean's article, if you guys haven't
can't
read
do
it, go
it,
read
yeah.
Sean's editorial on it. I agree like 100% with what he was saying in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think games like this, and like I would actually lump this in with Goat Simulator. Like, to me, Goat Simulator is the like stupid U-Bowl movie version of a video game. Like, it's broken on purpose and it's trying to see how sideways you can take a game. Like, no one takes that game seriously, but a lot of people enjoy it. And then some people look at that game and go like, this is the most broken piece of shit game ever. The developers that made this should be dragged out in the street and shot. And you're like, why? Like, who gives a fuck? You don't fucking like it. Move on. It's your expectations. I think that's the thing that people don't understand about, when they start getting on the internet and they start crying about stuff, you got to think about where your expectations are and where your perspective is. If your perspective is expecting this game to be X, Y, and Z, and your expectations get violated, maybe you should change your perspective and look at it from a fucking different way, and you'll realize that maybe you don't know what you're talking about. So I don't know. It's a controversial topic, and I think it's a lot of fun to remind people that they need to just calm down about shit. Like,
All right,
personally,
well,
I just
I mean,
don't give any fucks.
Well, it's not hurting anybody. It's
No, it's
there,
not.
and again,
Yeah.
like we've been
That's
saying,
the
just
other thing,
ignore
too.
it.
That's the other thing.
It's
is
a
that,
virtual
like,
product.
there's-
It's a video game, and it's not hurting anybody. I understand
I
people saying that
guarantee-
this
like,
is
the
bad for
difference
the industry
between
because
this-
people are always saying
So I would
violent games
agree.
make violent kids, but that's fucking bullshit. Those kids
So
already
check
have
this out.
problems. That's what the ESRB is
what's
there
one of the
for.
world's so check this out. This game, fictional situation, just guy running around shooting guy. Like, he looks like he just walked off the stage of some like horrible Kiss knockoff concert show and grabbed some Uzis or something and just ran around. Was like, I'm so badass. I mean, he even sounds like over the top just to be. So this is clearly a funny kind of weird nod. But then there was the video game Columbine Simulator. That hurts people because that is like a touchy subject, and it's a little too soon. It's directed. It's specifically designed to hurt people's feelings and try to push the boundaries there. That should also exist because that is also just a weird take on things. But then, what is the most catastrophic thing in the last like 200 years to happen to the world? I would say World War II, most likely. What's one of the most common video games we have on this planet? World
Exactly,
War II
World
video
War II.
games. What the fuck? Like, we're running around shooting people who actually existed in the face. Like, how is that not fucking controversial to people?
and that's the thing because
they were
this
bad
is how it
guys.
gets justified.
Yeah,
because
they're
they
bad
were
guys.
bad
It's cool.
guys.
It's okay. Yeah, it's totally
They were
fine,
bad
right?
guys. And the thing is,
Exactly,
like,
so-
I could make the most ridiculous argument, and I'll make it here, but I would like to move on because we don't have
No,
that much
please.
time left. And I'd like
No,
to get
yeah,
some
I
of the
forgot
questions.
about questions. Shit, sorry.
But so who's to say that every single person he's shooting, not one of them people is a child molester, or
Yeah,
one of
who
those
the fuck
people
knows?
is? We don't know. You know what I mean? Like that
Maybe
could
it's
be
like
anybody.
Dexter.
You're sitting there saying like literally everybody you're shooting is innocent, but it's like no, the world isn't like that. I could walk outside and walk past somebody who has fucking kitty porn and not know. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's like whatever, get over it.
You can't
Okay,
put
anyway,
blanket statements on any of this stuff. All right,
you can't.
we got
It's-
questions.
and it's-
Let's
okay.
do it.
All right. So the first question that I would like to answer. This will start light. If you
Sure.
can only buy one, this is from Colin Perkins.
Hey, Colin.
If you can only buy one game that released between September 1st and the end of the year, what would it be? You got one game.
All right, I'll go first since I'm the most Halo. It is the only game I'm buying in between now and then because of money.
Just September 1st, Drew.
What?
September 1st.
Oh,
is the
September
st-
1st? The fuck?
Yes. Not now and the end. I'm talking. He's saying September 1st, so that includes Destiny.
Oh, between September 1st and the end of the year?
Yeah.
If I had to pick one, I would still
Yeah.
go with just Halo because
Okay.
I have to play that game. I have like obligations. So
You're obligated to play it. What about
I am.
Rory?
Well, that's a good question. It's a tough one because normally I would probably say Far Cry 4 because Far Cry 3 was my personal game of the year that year. But this in this particular year, I might end up, if I had to choose, go with MCC just because I know I can get a shit ton of hours out of it. I know there'll be a lot of people playing it. The Forge is going to be across a bunch of games. It comes with the Nightfall Ridley Scott series. Normally my vote would be Far Cry 4, but if Master Chief Collection wasn't coming out, for sure. But man, I don't know, man. Even not as a giant Halo fan, that collection is just fucking insane.
Cool.
So, sorry, Far Cry. If I have to choose right now, I'm gonna say MCC.
all right, John.
I'm partially with Rory in the fact that it would be normally Far Cry 4, but I will say Call of Duty.
Yeah,
For
I think
much of
you're
the
ready,
same
man.
reason.
sounds like you're ready.
I can get a lot. I'll get a ton of my money's worth. I'll get a lot of hours out of that. I'm really looking forward to the advancements that they've done to the game. And I've always loved Call of Duty. And I think with the mobility and stuff like that, it'll make it feel not quite as good as Titanfall, but close enough. So yeah, my answer would definitely be Call of Duty.
Good choice.
The next question is from Abdallah. He says, "Would you rather sacrifice?"
Skip. No, I'm just kidding.
Would you? This is a very simple thing. You don't have to really go too far into it. Just pick one or the other,
right.
and then you can give a one-sentence reason why.
All right.
Would you rather sacrifice resolution for frame rate, 60 frames per second, or would you rather sacrifice frame rate for resolution? I'll go first, and to me, that's real easy. I'll always pick frame rate.
Okay.
Because playing games like Titanfall and Call of Duty at 60 frames per second, I've gotten by without having it be 1080p, and I still enjoyed the game.
Yep.
But if that game had a great resolution but ran like shit,
you'd feel it. You'd totally feel it. Rory, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's an easy one for me too. Frame rate as well, and I'm not even saying like 60 frames only, but even if it's like comes down to locking at 30 frames per second over a resolution, frame rate any day of the week, I would choose over resolution. Resolution is not a big deal to me. I played games at 720p that look amazing. I played games at 900p that looked amazing, and I've played games at 1080p that looked amazing. The resolution is so far down on the importance list for me. It's a nice thing, but hands down, frame rate any day of the week.
So, I will say that up until this generation, I wouldn't have even known how to answer this question. Because I've never thought of it. And maybe that's because I'm a console gamer. And so these things aren't exactly stuff that we have a lot of say in. And we don't get to just push like Control R or whatever and get a fucking frame rate popping up at the top corner of the screen, which is a built-in thing that you can have in Diablo. Like you just push a button and it'll tell you the frame rate live in real time. So
pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. Up until this point, I think I would have said resolution just because I wasn't so hard up on like how smooth the game ran. I just wanted it to look really good because on the 360, games tended to run relatively smooth, except for games like Far Cry with all kinds of screen tear and just ridiculousness going on. But now, especially after seeing Halo Master Chief Collection in 60 frames with my own two eyes, I really appreciate frame rate, and I do not give a shit about losing like 180 lines of Ps. I don't care about my Ps, all right? I want my FPSs, sure, but I don't care about my Ps. But I will say with the caveat of, like, it doesn't need to be ridiculous frame rate. My friend runs Diablo at like 200 FPS on his fucking PC. It's just unbelievable.
That's stupid.
And it is ridiculous. Like, why does it even tell you?
Why
that
do you
it
need?
should just
Why,
be like
I want to see that
after
for
after
myself
like after
on
like
a monitor,
80
so I can be
frames.
like, yeah, worth it, 2,000 frames or
Yeah,
200
after
frames,
like 80
whatever
or
the fuck it is.
80 or 90 frames per second, it should just say max. Like just say full frame. It's all about smoothness to me and consistency. Like his frame rate jumps up and down, up and down, up and down. And you can't really tell it with when you're up that high and when you're playing a game like Diablo. But for me, it's whatever it is, it's got to be smooth. So, yeah, frames.
Frames.
Okay, so I am going to butcher this poor gentleman's name. Kikuchio.
Oh yeah. I haven't heard his name
Kikuchio
yet. I haven't heard it
Trace
said,
Lindbergh.
Yep.
He asked this question. Colin Perkins asked a question again, but he gets one question. I'm not going to field two questions. But
we'll save it for next week.
yeah. Okay, so he said, with the constant disagreement of what next-gen game truly is next level, in your opinion, barring ports, what upcoming game do you feel will be generally agreed upon that will be truly next level? That's hard because...
Yeah, I was just gonna
ahead.
say, like, what are we referring
There's
to
not
then?
a
Are we
lot
talking
left.
about from like a pure like graphical standpoint? Or are we talking about
I think it's
user
up to you.
systems?
Whatever
It's
that
up to you,
means to
Rory.
you.
Yeah,
Whatever that
it's-
means
it's,
to you.
It's
Wow.
user choice, so
Okay.
whatever matters to you the most.
Uh,
Sean, do you have something in mind here?
I do. I think, for all intents and purposes, I think it's going to be the Division. There's just, in terms of graphics, I don't think any game looks better. In terms of just a cool, it's kind of doing what Destiny's doing in terms of the shared world shooter, but it looks even just now, having played Destiny and seeing what they're doing, seeing several gameplay videos, I feel like that's kind of what they're going for. Like, you are going to have these missions that are going to go in and outside of places in New York City. And then it's going to have these like live events that you just get cut into public events. And I don't know if it's going to be multiplayer or what, but it looks like it's going to really seamlessly bridge the gap. I know that that's what we thought when we saw Watch Dogs, but I've seen more gameplay of that. And
Well,
I'm
the
kind
Division is billed as a straight up massively multiplayer online game, so they're calling themselves an MMO. So it should be what you're expecting more.
I don't think I've ever heard them call it an MMO. I definitely heard them call it a co-op RPG. But if it's an MMO, that's cool. If it can get that graphical fidelity and have the gameplay and the shooting, I think that's going to be the game that sets the bar when we're saying, okay, we're finally here. In terms of gameplay and stuff, like, I think Titanfall did a really good job, and I think Titanfall 2 is going to expand on that. But that right now, that's pie in the sky. It doesn't exist. For games that I know about, I think it's going to be the Division.
Okay, cool. Rory, do you have an idea?
I was trying to think about it. It's a good question. It's a tough one. I can go so many different ways with it. I think on a pure graphical standpoint, when we're looking at something going like, holy shit, like, this is next gen. This is what I'm expecting from this and wanting to see advance forward from here on out. I think will be Uncharted. I think it'll be late next year, and we'll see Uncharted 4 come out, and that will be the game from a graphic standpoint that is truly like pushing something above and beyond what we had seen at that point. So I'll put down for graphics. I think Uncharted 4 will be the game. In some way, as far as just like user interfaces and functionality goes, I feel like Master Chief Collection is already kind of showing
I think
us
it's
that.
hinting at what they're going to give us with Halo 5. So
Yeah, so I'm
hopefully.
curious, like, as far as I don't think what they're doing anyway with Master Chief Collection as far as the user interface goes and the connectivity of it and jumping around, I don't think that is possible on current gen personally. So I think we're already seeing a hint of that as far as systems go. So I'll say Master Chief Collection really early on that front. But as far as graphics go, what we're going to look at and go, holy shit, this is what we've been waiting for, I think it'll be Uncharted.
So I would have to agree a little bit. I was trying to think about, there's a part of me that really hopes that Halo 5 takes, concepts and expansion beyond what a game is on the Xbox One, like, and really just pushes it forward. And I think we're seeing hints at that with the Master Chief Collection and how the UI plays with everything. Like the Halo channel itself is this thing that you can launch. You can watch Nightfall. You can play Master Chief Collection. You can go straight to a Twitch match and watch people play Halo, and then like you can just turn around and jump right into a matchmaking with
Yeah,
that.
the user experience really is next
fucking
gen in that
ridiculous.
collection.
And it's blowing out of the water like how you interact with your game.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to care about that. Sean is a perfect example as someone who's like, fuck all that shit, fuck all these bells and whistles, just give me my damn game. You know what I mean? And
No, I mean some of that stuff is cool. It's just I don't care about Halo. So I mean,
Mhm.
like it's like if you could approach that and other things that do interest me,
sure.
then that would be cool. I mean, I don't personally care about Twitch streaming, watching other people play, but I
But
like
just all the
I like
options, all the things that
I
are
definitely think they're doing some cool things, and even listening to what you guys were saying earlier about jumping to a section of a game just so you can get an achievement. That's
Yeah.
pretty neat, and that is good outside of the box thinking that I would like other game companies to think about. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Because
yeah.
it does make you go, okay, well, damn, I really have been playing just really prettier versions of last gen games. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
for sure.
so
They've been really shallow lately. I mean, like if you go back and look at these first few games, like they're really cool, but they're not exactly doing anything that just physically can't be done. I mean, like the Nemesis system being cut from the old version of Mordor. I think that's probably just time. Like they didn't have time to make that work, or they didn't have the
no,
RAM
when
to
you
make it work.
when you see how it's implemented in the game, you'll see that it jumps back and forth
So that
to the
Box
worlds.
needs to know how to jump and do all that.
Yeah, yeah, I can totally see why
But-
that wouldn't.
You know, in my mind, when I think what's next, I got to go back and think what came in the last generation, and we just never saw any of it coming. Like nobody saw Minecraft coming, and no one knew Modern Warfare was going to be so fucking good. And it's whatever's going to happen next is going to be like that. It's going to sideswipe us, and I will, if I could make a prediction, it would be we're going to see it at E3.
Yeah.
Like the thing that's coming next that we're all going to get our fucking jaws blown off with. And I'll just go ahead and do this since Abdallah's going to listen to this later and he's going to be clawing his fucking eyes out if no one says these words. No Man's Sky might do it, maybe.
You know what I think will
Hopefully.
come out and surprise people on a lot of levels? It might just be graphics, it might just be the insane kinetic gameplay, but I'm really curious to see what Platinum does with their next game on next gen consoles, and that being
So
scaled down.
after hearing about Bayonetta, which I say that because even though I have a Wii U, I will probably never play that game. After hearing about Bayonetta, I'm fucking stoked about Scalebound. I want to see what happens. Hopefully it's that good.
Yeah,
I don't know.
From what
See.
they're hinting at, I'm getting the impression that this might end up being like this massive sort of like play with four
Yeah.
friends, online co-op, Monster Hunter type game, but then you add in
Yeah.
Platinum's trademark speed and precision
Mm-hmm.
and over-the-top action. So
So
it's going to be an interesting one.
So yeah. So I mean, my ultimate thing is like whatever is next level, we don't know about, and that's what I'm excited for. I'm excited to see the thing that we don't fucking even know is a thing.
Yeah.
Like who knew that, you know,
Maybe it'll be Phantom
crafting and
Dust.
survival and online interaction and all that stuff the way it is today was going to be a thing in 2006. No one fucking knew that. So I just keep thinking of 2015 as 2006, 2007, and it just makes me giddy. So we got any more? We got time for one more? Sean's dead? Okay, cool.
He's dead.
All right.
No, I'm here. I'm muted. I'm muted.
Oh,
All right.
okay.
Brandon Kramer asked, and this is kind of something
Aw,
we
Brandon,
touched
I
about.
love you, man.
He says, does the hype ever live up? Only example I can think of in the last couple of years is GTA 5. Does hype normally
Yeah.
let people down?
So
This year,
I saw that.
Titanfall and Destiny were overhyped, and people's disappointment caused by their overexcitement.
So
See, the funny
Uh,
thing is,
the
I
reason
think
why-
Titanfall lived up to the
Talk
hype
about this,
personally,
bro.
but
Me too. That's what I was gonna say.
we just
So-
had this discussion, but I would like to talk about it now after having more games under our belt, and then we can get going because I gotta
Okay.
get this stuff.
Well, the difference is between what we were talking about and what this is, what he's asking, is that like, to me it goes back to earlier in the conversation, based on your expectations and so on and so forth. And we can use Destiny as a prime example, because there's been a lot of people criticizing Destiny uh, for not living up to whatever expectations, whatever hype they had, whatever the case may be. And that, just to me, that comes down to you. Titanfall was exactly what I wanted it to be. I love playing it. I would love to keep playing it. I don't have the time to, but I still think that game, to me, in terms of what I was expecting and what I got, and I was expecting a lot, I got what I was expecting.
Yeah, same here. All those trailers that they showed, when I first saw the reveal at E3 of that game, it blew my mind. And then all these game outlets were talking about it and how kinetic and over the top and crazy it is, and you're just constantly moving. And I was getting super hyped for it. And that first couple nights with the game, I was just like, this is it was exactly what I was expecting it to be based off of those trailers. So yeah, I don't know, Titanfall, man, that game did live up to the hype, in my humble opinion.
So what is the question? Do games live up to the hype, or when was the last time a game lived up to the hype?
That it did live up to the hype, yeah. I don't know. GTA did, like you said, and
I think GTA 5 is the most solid example of a game that lived up to the hype for me in the last 5 years, because I was beyond hype for GTA 5. I was so fucking I was the guy who, when they put out a little screenshot thing and people are like, why did they do this to us? Who cares about this? I had that thing blown up on my screen. I was just peering into the pores of people, just looking at every inch of that screen, oh my god, look at this, and there's a bird. I was so hyped for that game, and I completely loved every second of that game. The GTA Online glitchy launch aside, because that's how the internet works. I fucking love GTA 5. It totally did it for me. So.
And see, the funny thing is that game, not when I use this word, it's going to sound worse than it is, but that game did actually disappoint me. I still gave it a 9 out of 10 when I reviewed it, but
yeah, a lot of people weren't feeling the story and everything.
I mean, to me, GTA as gameplay is a lock. I always expect them to improve that stuff. Mm-hmm. But what I like about Rockstar is their stories, and that's 2 games in a row where I felt the story has fucking let the game down. That's Max Payne 3
Vice City
and
is so good.
No, I'm not talking about GTA. I'm talking about Rockstar in general. Max Payne 3 and GTA 5. I just think the stories weren't that good. I don't know if he's running out of things to say or do, but or if maybe he shouldn't be the only creative voice in there. But those games, they definitely disappointed me, and not to the point where I hate the game or anything. But I had a level of expectation. I expected that game to be a 10, so when I give it a 9, that's a disappointment.
And see, all right, so kids, boys and girls listening at home, this is how you do this. Oh, you didn't like the game that I just absolutely loved? Cool.
Oh yeah,
that's how you do that.
I'm flying to LA tomorrow, and I'm egging Sean's windows because he gave Grand Theft Auto a 9, and it should be a 9.5.
Everything you said about GTA 5, I totally get, because I did the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Every screenshot, I was like, I can't wait for this game.
But it knocked it out of the park for me, and it didn't for you. And all I'm pointing out is people on the internet need to take note as to how
it's still a home run.
No. I'm not arguing with you. Shut up.
I'm just saying. Your analogy.
I'm agreeing with you.
We're
gonna agree with each other as violently as possible. All right, so we gotta wrap this up. I'm literally in the middle of moving, and I'm gonna finish that tonight so I can go play video games with you guys.
All right, we got something to give away though.
Oh shit, let's do it, and then let's
do it right now. And it's gonna be an easy win because there's only a handful of people right now. So you guys that are listening. What we've got, compliments of the good old Jesse White of Rated M for Podcast Facebook group, is a copy of X-Men Days of Future Past, a digital copy up for grabs.
I just saw it. It's pretty rad.
It's supposed to be awesome. So he's donated that. So I'm going to ask one question. It's an X-Men video game question, and I'm popping the image up on the screen, but I'll ask you the question. It's a name the game. This X-Men game came out in 1994 for the Super Nintendo. It was developed by Capcom. First person to name the game is going to win a digital copy of X-Men Days of Future Past, and you'll be able to download that on iTunes.
Give a delay, because you're going to pop that up and people aren't going to hear the rest of your...
we can chit-chat. What's your guys' favorite X-Men movie
while
we wait?
So I just saw Days of Future Past, and I really liked it, but it's still... The first movie was so fucking good.
I think X2 is the best X-Men movie, personally.
Are you talking about Days of? You talking about X First Class first movie, or are you
No,
talking
the
about
first movie.
actual?
No, the first X-Men. I liked the
Uh,
first X-Men so much. I would almost agree that I think X2 might be the best one.
X2 is the best one. X2 to me is still the best superhero movie I've ever seen.
It's up
And
there.
I'm not Batman is not a superhero to me, so I'm gonna
Sure.
say
Yeah, I hear you.
in terms of movies with powers
Mm.
that are based on a licensed property, it's the X Men 2.
Oh,
My
X2 is
favorite
so good.
superhero movie in general is The Incredibles.
Oh, nice,
Yeah,
nice.
X2 and The Incredibles would
All right,
definitely be in
so
my top 5.
We have
so
an
we got
answer. I
we
believe
have
it's
an
correct.
answer. Is
Chil-
Nick right
What?
here?
Children of the Atom? That is not correct.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Children
wow.
of the
Going,
Atom, I
folks.
believe, was a fighting game.
Girls. I think you're right, actually.
This is a
This is
a
the
side
side-scroller.
this is a side-scrolling game from Capcom.
Is this the one that started off? Uh,
Released in
how does it-
1994, developed by Capcom.
Was this also on the Sega Genesis?
I don't think it was. I think this was a Super NES only game.
Okay.
I
Okay,
could
we
be
got
mistaken,
another-
but I'm pretty
Got
sure
another
it's
guess.
SNES only.
Somebody saying Wolverine Adamantium Rage.
Nope, they are wrong.
Damn.
Holy cow! I didn't think it would be so hard.
Somebody
I
say the
figured-
right thing soon.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it took so long. I'm giving you guys a release date, a platform,
Someone
and
do
a
a Google
developer.
image search
Google
real
is your
quick,
friend.
just-
Come
yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Watch Bill get this. I'm gonna laugh so hard if Bill gets this.
what's depressing about X2 is that X-Men 3 did not deliver on any of the promises.
No.
It's set, like X-Men 2 set
Ew.
like so. That's one of the things about X-Men 2 is like
That's what happens
it was
when you
so
bring
great,
Brett
but it was
Ratner
also
in.
so great because it was hinting at so many things that so many people were like, "Oh man, they're going there," and then X-Men 3 just like,
No, they fucked it up, man.
And
What
I
I
don't-
loved about X2 after X1 was that they were really starting to dive into like the triangle between Logan, Cyclops, and Jean Grey, and I was so hyped to see like what's gonna happen with the Phoenix stuff afterwards. And then yeah, you know he went on to do
so
Superman. and
Bill's
Brett Ratner
guess
came
is
in.
it Superman 64?
Holy shit! Oh wait, Nick, got it. Mutant Apocalypse
All right,
is
Nick
the
in
correct
chat.
answer. Ding, 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 ding. Holy shit, boys! It took you long enough. All right,
Cool.
Nick, man, I'll be in touch. Make sure after the show, just grab me, send me a message on Facebook there, and I will reply back with your code to digitally download X-Men Days of Future Past. All right, buddy? Congratulations. I hope you enjoy it.
Congratulations, Nick, and thank you very much to
Jesse White.
Jesse for donating that. That's pretty rad.
It was super awesome.
So that will wrap the show, and it's really good to be back. I'm really happy to be back in time for us to really start diving into some new games, and I look forward to hearing everybody's thoughts on the games that they play next week. I look forward to talking about Shadow of Mordor for just 5 minutes next week because I know you guys have already talked about it a lot, but I finally get to play it this week. So
We haven't really talked about it that much, and I'm not
Okay,
done
good.
with it. I'll be
All
done with it by next week. So.
Cool. Well, don't forget to check out ratedmgaming.com. That's r8dmgaming.com. And follow us on Twitter at ratedm for podcast or at ratedm podcast on Twitter. And go find us on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/ratedm for podcast. You can find me on Twitter. I'm at Drew_Freeman85. You can find Sean on Twitter. He's at the letter N, the number 2, the letter N, the word other, into another. And Rory here is at Red Eye Games Live.
Yeah, and follow me on Twitch /Red Eye Games Live as well. Come hang out
Yes.
tomorrow. We've got I'm doing another film and fromage. We're gonna watch a video game movie. And
Drew.
I'm taking suggestions.
Yes.
So you guys that are watching live now, drop me some suggestions in Facebook. And
Drew,
we'll
don't
pick a
forget
movie.
to plug Extra Life.
Oh, all right. So one quick last thing. I'm going to be representing Rated M Gaming Network for the Destiny Community Extra Life 24-hour stream. You can find out more information on that over on our Facebook group. I'm going to make a post on ratedmgaming.com, so go ahead and check that site out and just watch for it. Follow me on Twitter. I'll be tweeting about it a lot. But it's basically all of the streamers, all the YouTubers, all the Twitterers, all the guys that are involved in the Destiny community. I'm talking about More Console, Dado Does Destiny, all the guys that are like really tight with Bungie and they've been doing all this, Guardian Radio, all these guys, the leaders of the Destiny community. They're doing an Extra Life 24-hour stream, and I'm going to be part of that. So definitely be on the lookout. I think I'm streaming from like 2 to 3 on October 25th. That's next Saturday. So keep in touch, and we'll let you guys know how that goes and everything. I'm really excited to get
I
involved with that.
might. I'm possibly doing that, so follow me on Twitter.
Sweet.
And look for in here. I have to run that by my girlfriend that I'm going to be playing video games for 24 hours.
Well, I'm only streaming a couple of hours of it, but I'm definitely going to be involved the whole time.
Even if like whatever the case may be,
Yes.
I'm going to be trying to do it.
Yep.
Try to see what I can do. Hopefully that the fact that it's for a good cause will let it go. Like,
hopefully, yeah. And
make her
I
not
mean, everybody's going to be streaming that day. That's like the annual Extra Life Day. So even if you don't have time to check us out or whatever, like just go support people on Twitch during that day because it's going to be blown up.
Yeah, maybe I should do something. I didn't even think about Extra Life stuff.
Go
Maybe I should
donate.
Stream.
Share out links to donation teams or whatever you can do. So, but that's it. I gotta go, guys. So thanks everybody for joining us. We will see you guys next week.
Later.
All right, later.